And so this is Navigating MyMathLab. So if you're teaching any course that is using a Pearson textbook, then this is online homework system that is going to be that you can use to have your homeworks, exams, and quizzes if you give quizzes. And so I still am recommending that you do set up a Blackboard course for your students. This would be their entry point. It's important that they have a place to go. Let me just get into the course again. Oh, let me share my screen. Give me a second. I'm gonna need to get off and get back on because my computer wants to freeze. So I'm gonna. Okay, I'm back. So I'm gonna share my screen. And you should be able to see my screen. So what I was saying is I do recommend that you have your Blackboard course set up for your students. It could be really simple, just something that they can get into and communicate with you, since the college is really telling students to go to Blackboard for their course materials. And so basically, if you want to have a course here, notice the way I set up this one. This is just a practice course. I have the course syllabus. You could have a professor contact if you like, or you can not have it. It's up to you. The students will see their grades here. And then I have lecture notes here they can click on. Okay, you don't need to use this if all you're going to do is use MyMathLab. I still like to have something that the students can look at. And then depending on what you're using, you can use WebAssign, MyMathLab. Since this is MyMathLab, then your course would only have MyMathLab. You wouldn't have WebAssign, you wouldn't have MyLabs Plus. So you would just get rid of those. Or if you create your own. Anyways, we want to go to MyMathLab today. And so this is in your Blackboard. When the students click on it, it just takes them to the login page. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in. I was already signed in earlier, so that's why I just went directly into the course. I do have handouts for everything that I'm going to talk about today, and so I can provide those to you as well. I will be setting up probably a space where people can go in and just grab the documents. If you are not using MyMathLab yet, then you would want to create or copy a course. You can click on this. If you have a course, for example, if I want to copy Ms. Macedo's course, she can provide the course ID, and then it would let me copy the course. So we can do that. For example, let me just go back. If you've already taught it before, you can click on this, and it'll bring up all your other courses, and you can just copy them by pressing select. And then you would use it. You want to make sure you have student use so that your students can register into your course. You would give it a name when the course starts and when it ends. Okay. If you don't have an existing course or you don't have an instructor course ID from somebody else, then you need to look for your textbook. So let me look for the 1324 textbook. I guess you can be more specific. I put all disciplines, but So my computer is a little slow. I think I have to get rid of some stuff. Let me go back. So let's be more specific here. So math, and I'll just type Larson. So as we wait, hopefully this gets done quicker. If it doesn't load right now, then I'll just go into one of my other courses. Okay, let's just go to another course. Maybe if I put the name of the book, it'll be faster. What is the name of the stat book? Elementary statistics? Okay, we'll try it again before we log off. But let's whenever you create a course, it does take a few minutes. Well, right now it's saying it takes up to 3 hours to create. So depending on the traffic. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to one of our courses. Let's say that I'm gonna use this 1324 class, it's blank. First create the course. It's just gonna be, it's not gonna have this start here. Let me go ahead and erase that. That way we can start from. When you first create your course, it's just gonna look like this. All the tabs that are on the left side, these are already there from the company. So you can leave them as they are, or you can add tabs to this. So for example, if you want to add a tab, you would go to Manage Course, and you would enter here, Start Here, tab, what type of tab it is. I'm just going to say Content, and then you just press Add. You can also move it, so if you want that to be the first place the students see, you just put number 1 and moves it to the top. And so if I go back to the course, you'll see the tab here. So obviously it's going to be empty. If you want to add something, you press Manage View, and you can type stuff in here. You can add documents. So you would say Continue. Student notes, you would choose a file. Any file. And then you would press Add Link. Okay, so if I come down here, I'm going to say Save Changes. And so now it's done. I give view so I can see what the students see. So the student can click and they would get their file. Okay, so that's how you add these tabs in here. Again, you don't have to add tabs. You're going to see that the course is pretty set for you already. The students can click on assignments to get their assignments. There's nothing in here right now. I'll show you how to create an assignment in a second. The study plan, This is just a practice for students. So they can come in here and press practice and then take a quiz. And they can pick, it just walks them through the course. They can click on all chapters. And so then they can go and get, let's say you're working on chapter 6. And they can watch a video and then try the quiz. So this is just for practice. The gradebook, the students would see their grades in here. As you notice, there's 0% because there's no assignments. Text. The textbook is actually a nice resource. It has embedded videos and so on. So let me. This is something that students struggle with sometimes. They'll open something and then they don't know what happened and they give up. But usually on the right side here, there's usually a little red X. We can say allow. Always allow pop-ups. Now, I don't have a subscription to this. This happens sometimes. And for instructors, sometimes we have to get access to that by calling our rep. So I'm going to have to call my rep so I can show you the textbook. So that's where the students would access the textbook. The chapter contents is where everything is at for your students. And if you notice, it's organized as chapters. There's a solutions manual that the student right now cannot see because it's hidden. If you click on chapter 1, then it breaks it down by sections. So I'm in section 1.1, and it gives the student a video that they can watch. So if they click section 1.1, then they would have the video. Okay, so let's go back. They can view the e-text. Again, I'm not going to be able to view the textbook because I need the company to give me that permission. So if you notice here, it says you entered an incorrect username or you don't have the subscription. If that happens to you, I will provide you the email for the rep in the text messages right now. That way you can send her a message. You can add to this by clicking on manage. And maybe I can leave a message for my students. I can say, watch the video and then do section 1.1 homework. You could even have a due date here to remind them if you want them. This will be due on 3/25. You don't have to put the deadline here because it automatically gives them a deadline in the homework, but this might be a nice way for them to see it as they enter the section. So notice now the student will see that you gave them. And then if you want to add another document, you can. Use the document to take notes while watching the video. So maybe you can create a document for them. You can add it by doing the same link. You probably want to name it something other than the way I'm naming my stuff right now. So I'll just pick this. Just a document, how it works. So maybe your document could be 1 or 2 questions about the video to make sure that they're looking at the video. The only thing with that is that, do you want them to turn that document into you? So, or is it just for them to take notes? Okay, I'm just going to close this and we can move on. So this is how you would add, manipulate this page here. So let me ask, is there any questions about adding a word here or a file into this? Okay. So we continue. Every section is set up the same way. And this is just coming straight from the company. You can get a little bit more creative, and I'll show you how you can get creative here. So every chapter is the same. Now maybe you're teaching 13, 14 and you don't cover all these chapters, so you can hide some of those chapters as well. Okay, so the way you're gonna hide these chapters is you can go to your main menu, and we're gonna manage our course, but you wanna manage the edit MML settings. And so it's gonna take you to this page here. You can edit your stuff in here, so let's just click on it. This is important here. If you notice, my time zone for this course, the way it was created, is actually in Eastern time. So when people don't change this, or they don't have this checked, it automatically, if your deadlines and stuff would be on Eastern time. So it's important to make it Mountain, wherever that is. I can't find it. Here it is. So now it tells me what the current test is. You can change the date here if you like. Here, if you had like a tutor or something that you wanted to put in, you can do that, but I'm not going to do that. And then next, and this is where you're going to check off your chapters. So maybe I don't cover, let's pretend this is, oh yeah, we don't have to pretend. Let's say this is 1324. We cover these chapters. We don't do chapter 7. We don't do these right here. So I can simply remove them. And I don't think we do that one. And then we press next. And then here it tells you if you want a lockdown browser, you can do that. Okay. Now this right here, it means your students can be proctored. However, we can't ask students to buy anything right now, so it's better just to leave it blank. You can request their IP address to see where they're working from. I never do that. I just leave it blank. And then these tools right here, you can get rid of them if you want. I don't recommend that you get rid of them because these are like helpful resources for your students. The only one that I get rid of is that view example. However, in this situation, if you leave it, it might be good. I'll show you what the difference is in a little bit, and then you can get rid of it if you like. Connect it to a tutor. It's gonna need it's extra money, so we can leave it blank. And then ask my instructor. This is important. You can edit your email address. So maybe you have an address you want students to ask you questions, and you'll see what that looks like in a little bit. And then I'm going to say save. Okay, so now if I go back to the menu, so the chapters are still here. I don't know if I press saved or not, but we can get rid of them by going to manage course, and we can just hide them here. Let me see where they're at. If I click on the arrow, all the chapters will come up as well. And then I can hide the chapters that we don't use. The other place that we got rid of them is for when you're actually going to create questions and stuff like that. To get rid of them from the student view here, then you actually have to go and click them like I just did right now. So if I click on chapter contents, why is it still there? Oh, They're not there. You see the little man with the line? That means it's hidden from students. So they cannot see that. I was getting scared. I was like, why is it still there? Okay, so now let's go back to the main menu. So accessible resources. Your students have accessible PowerPoint lectures. This is like for students that have CSD requirements, the transcripts, and then an alternate version of your ebook. So this is like for students who need to use a reader. Okay. Skills for success. There's a mindset. So if you want to give your students videos on how to improve their mindset, this is they're all in here. And there's other stuff. If you want them to read about time management, they can do these videos. So all of these are extra. If you don't want your students to be looking at that stuff, then you can hide it from them. I mean, I think it's a good tool for them to have anyways. Tools for success. So this has a lot of info. It shows you how to enter your answers, where to get help from. You can work through orientation questions, and then it gives you technology help. So if you want to use a graphing calculator, it shows you how to use your graphing calculator. And then it has some review cards for the students as well. It has these math talk videos and stat videos. So these are all extra resources for your students. Mainly the place where students will be is the chapter contents. And this multimedia library is awesome because it puts everything in one place. So let's say your student is working on chapter 2 and they want to see what is everything that's available for me to better understand this material. I can click on everything. And I can see the textbook right here. I'm not even going to attempt to open it. Okay, I will try to open it, but I'm still going to get the error. Okay, your students won't get the error because they already have an access code, which we'll talk about later. You have all the PowerPoints right here for that chapter, and then you have the videos that go with the chapter. And so as you notice, there's a lot of videos here. You could actually click on one of these videos. Let's say you really love this video. Okay, and I'm gonna copy the link. So control copy the link, and you can place that link over here. I don't remember what section it was, but let's say it was section 1.1. And you really want them to watch that video, you can say link. I'm gonna link to a website. Watch this video or something like this. At the link. And I'm not sure why it's not letting me do it, but the link should appear right here. And then your students can use it. I probably should use a different browser. And I need to fix my cookies probably. Okay, I'll have to fix my cookies later. But you should be able to get the link from here. Let me try again. And let me erase this. Okay, so that was my mistake. I had an extra HTTP in there. Okay, so if we look at the student view, then the student can watch the video. And so I just kind of a way to be more specific on what you want them to watch first. But some of these right here, I mean, these are created by authors and authors of the book, so they probably know what works for their textbook a little bit as well. So let's go back to the main menu. Okay, so in the multi-library, so just the point here is that they can choose anything. And then course tools. For instructors, this is where you're going to spend most of your time. You can send emails through here, but this assignment manager and the gradebook, this is where you're going to spend most of their time. You can also click on the roster to see who's enrolled in your class as well, to see if all your students have signed in already. And then finally, you have Instructor Resources. And you can look at the resources where you can get the PowerPoints, homework resources. It has the instructor answer keys and the instructor solutions manual. And it just goes on and on. So the important thing next is, how do I create assignments? So to create an assignment, you're going to go down to course tools. Since I use course tools a lot, I want it to be easy for me to get to. So I'm going to find it and I'm going to make it my number 1. So it's just going to move it up for me. And now I can find it here, course tools. That way I don't have to drag it all the way down. So to create an assignment, you click on Assignment Manager. And then you're going to get this page. It has nothing on it. So you're going to say create an assignment. And you can create a homework, a quiz, a test, or you can add an offline item. So like if you want to add a paper assignment, you can do that. I'm going to create a homework. And let's call this section 1.1. And then we say next. The good thing about Pearson is you can change your textbook if you like and get more information. You can use, let's say if you want to see this calculus book. And then you can pick questions from that calculus book. And that's not the book the students are using, but you can still use those questions if you prefer. However, the key is you still have to use at least one question from your book. Okay, so let's go to section 1.1. And you can actually look by objective right here. I just leave it, see all of the questions. This is important here. If you click on media, you can actually put the video first, and you can make your students, well, you can't really make them watch it, but at least it's part of the assignment. So right now I have the video there. And then I'm going to add question 1, 2, and 3. This little bar graphs here tell you how hard the question is. So 1.12 tells you that it's hard, and the median time is 58 seconds, and 47% of the students got it right on the first try. The first number here is the chapter, and then this is the section. So if you have a textbook, you can actually look at your questions in your textbook, and that's going to be similar to what they have here. You can see what the question is just by using your mouse, but it's kind of hard to see. So if you want to see the actual question, you can click on it and you can see the question. If you like it, you would push add. If you don't like it, just go to next. It tells you what the question helps are here. So I think I already added, and when you're done, you just close it. And so my question is here, and I'm gonna add additional ones. So notice here I added 2 that are the same, so they're randomized, and maybe I just like it. So I'm gonna go back. Now I wanna get another video, so maybe this video, I can add it here, and maybe add some more questions. So let me add a few more questions. And so they're right there. So now that we have some questions here, you know what? I don't really like to have two of these. So you can select it and press remove, and it's going to get rid of it. Right now it's telling me I have 5 questions and there's 7 points. You can change the number of points for the question. Okay, so you can leave that there. And you can preview this assignment. So I'm going to preview here. And so this would be my assignment. Okay, so let me just, I can view it as a student. So this is what your student is going to see. Notice here it says assign media, and that's the video. Okay, so once you finish and you're happy with the questions you selected, then you can sort the questions too. Like say you want this video to go to the top, you select it, and then you use these arrows here. So I can move it up or down. Okay, so I'm going to press next. Now we are going to put, if you want to have a due date, you would select a due date. And then where do you want it to be associated with? You can change this and select a different chapter. But since I'm working with chapter 1, I'm going to leave it there in chapter 1. You can have students have late submissions. If you don't put a due date here, obviously you won't be able to check this, but you can have a late submission. You can make them ask you for a password. Okay. I'm not going to have a password, but you can require a password. And then you can have a final submission. So even though they're late, you can still give them a different date. You can penalize them for being late. So I'm going to take away 10%. It can be applied to scores, questions that are after the due date. And if you don't want partial credit on some of these questions, you can take this away. I normally leave it on. And then the prerequisites, if you click on this, if I had more assignments here, you can make them do another assignment before they do this one. And that's where you would just select it and they would have that prerequisite. So for example, let's be creative here. I'll do it here in a second. Attempts per question. So I only want my students to have 5 attempts on this question, or this for each question. And then the media access requires students to work media before answering questions. So if you know that video I put, if you don't check that off, it's not going to require them. And by require, basically the student just has to click on the video. You can lock your correct answers. That way they know that they already got them correct. And you can change the helps buttons. So if you don't want them to have this, then you can get rid of that. I always leave the learning aids for homework, but I remove them for exams. For graphing, this one's important because if you click on it, they can just enter the coordinates and it's easier to graph. And importing, if you click on this, then I'm allowing other instructors to get my assignment. And once you're ready, if you're not ready to let your students see it, you can just press save and the students will not see it. So if you want them to see it, you have to press save and assign. And so now they have that first section. And let me talk about some of the tools in there. You can edit it. You can copy it to, for example, if I make a test and I want to use it as a review, then you can just copy it. You can do settings per student. So let's say a student emails you and says, I have a situation, blah, blah, blah. Then you can select them and give them more time. But what I want to do next is view it as a student. So I'm going to preview. And so this is what the student would see. So it says view the media files questions. And so this is the media. So notice that the questions are black and I cannot click on them. And the reason that they're like this is because I required them to watch the media. So I'm going to click on it. And notice it gave me a check mark already. And so as a student, you can watch it, or if you want, you can just close it. Okay. So now that it's, let me go over here to where the students are going to grab your assignment. So the students would go to assignments, click on section 1.1. I'm going to watch this. And I think I selected a textbook question. That's why I can't see it. So I didn't even select the video. It's a question. So I think it's not letting me open the questions because I haven't opened the actual test or the actual question. So let me go back and add a video question since I can't see the book. So let's go ahead and edit this. Yes. And let me go ahead and add a video question. And let me select a different chapter. So earlier, if you notice, I press this one, that's a textbook. So I need a video because I have capabilities of watching my book right now. And so I'm going to get rid of this. And so now I just have videos. Okay, save and assign. So now I can go back and let's see if section 1.1. So here's the video. I'm going to press play. And I'm tired. I'm just going to close it. So notice now that the questions are open. So now I can say, okay, I can do my homework now. And so the student can now do their homework. Let me go to a different question. And you don't have to choose multiple choice questions. I just happen to get multiple choice here. But let me talk about the question help. So the student can look at a video. They can look at the textbook. And let me go add a question where it's not multiple choice because I want to show you the view and example and so on. Okay, so let's pick something different. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to add it. And then I'm going to save and assign. Okay, so the reason I did this is I want you to see the tools that your students have. Sorry, I have to watch the video again. And I think it's the last question. I have to watch this video now. So now that I watched the second video, I can answer this question. Okay, so under the help tools, the view an example basically will walk your student through a similar example and provide some explanation. Okay, so the only problem with view an example is that sometimes students just seem to copy what they're seeing without really paying attention to what they're doing. Help me solve this is an actual step-by-step, and it asks the student to work. So since the bases are both 8, simplify by adding the exponent 7 plus 5. So let's say the student gets it wrong. It will tell them that it's wrong. And if they keep getting it wrong, then it tells them the correct answer. So it's like a learning opportunity for them. The video, the textbook, They have a basic calculator here if they want to use it. Ask my instructor. So here says, I don't understand. Send. And so you get an email. And I'll show you the email right now. You can see it comes out really, really nice. I guess I'm going to go the other way then. Okay, so for my email, so it comes in here. So if I click on it, it's going to show me that a student emailed me. So if I click on the question link, it takes you directly to the question so that you can see what the student is working on. And then you can just reply. And you can tell the student, try harder. And then I'll send the student the message. Okay, so that's how you create an assignment. For the tests, you would do the same thing. Create a test. Now the category, notice it's going to tests, but if you want it to be a quiz, you can click on quiz. So some of us offer tests and quizzes. So here it's going to give me an opportunity to show you how you can make a student do something before they actually take the test. So I'm just going to continue here. Excuse me. Okay. So now I'm going to remove this. I want the test to have a password. If you want a password, how many times do they want them to have for the test? If you want 2, if you want 1, if you want just 1, you don't have to write the 1. Now, sometimes students start taking a test and they get out without finishing the test. So these are going to be, if you want the student to submit the test, you can have them save it and finish later if you want to do that. If it's interrupted, so maybe their internet access dies or something, you can let students re-access the exam on their own, or you can say they resume until you give them access. Okay, so I usually use this one here, restricted access. Time limit, I'm going to say you have 10 minutes, so this is in minutes, and I want them to see how many minutes they have remaining. You can scramble the questions you like, and you can change the learning aids. So like here, notice that they're all taken away, but if you feel like, you know what, I still want them to see this, then you can do that. I actually just remove everything. And then I still want them to do this, and I want them to see their results, and you can hide the results. They can review the test after they submit it, and it gives you these 4 options. And so if you want the students to be able to print it, you can. I usually don't let them print a test homework. I let them print a homework. And then I'm going to say, let me go back up here. I was going to look for something, but I don't see it. Okay, then you press save and assign. And so then in your categories, if it has a circle, it's homework. If it has a test, then that's your test. Okay, so creating homeworks and quizzes and tests is very similar. You can click on change the date and assign the status. So maybe you have multiple assignments and I want to change all of them to have a due date of May 10th. And then I can say apply to select it, and then notice that it changes all the due dates for me. Okay, or if you want to say, you know what, I forgot to put allow late submissions. So now I'm going to say final submission and give a date. Let's say May 11th. Or if you want to put a password on your test, you can put it here. And you can say apply to select it and apply to select it. So what happens is it changes it there. It puts my happy password over there. And then if you want all these changes to stay, you want to say update changes. Okay, so that's how you would change multiple due dates. Individual student settings. I don't have anything here, but you can give them different individual settings. If you have time, I would encourage you to read about tags. Tags are good. You can put a group of tags on certain students. So maybe let's say you have CSD students who need double time. You can group them together by putting a tag. And so in the tag, you would say give an additional hour. And so when you do your assignment, it will give all of them that additional hour instead of doing it student by student. Okay, so now let me look at the gradebook. This is where you want to change your weights for your grades. So if you go to change weights, and so like here, if you want the homework to be 100 points and the quiz to be 100 points, and then for my test I have 5, so 500. And then this is, you can give points for doing the study plan that I showed you earlier. And then the other would be if you have assignments that are coming off, like if you add, like in my classes, if you have a project, for example, that they do on paper. So let's say projects are 50 points. And so then that's going to be their the weights. And so here you can call this projects instead of other. Okay, so now it shows it as projects. So I'm going to say 50 points. And so you press down here. Maybe you want each assignment for the homework to only be 5 points, the overall grade. So it changes it there. You can get rid of it. So maybe there was an assignment that you just didn't want as part of your grade. If you click on omit, it's going to remove it from your overall grade. Let me go ahead and add it back. Then I'm going to press save. You can add more categories. Okay, so under homework, I have a notebook grade that I'm going to make worth 10 points or whatever it is. So for some of our students, they have tutoring, so you could add tutoring in there, for example. And so let me go back to the gradebook. That's how you change all of that. If you have due dates, you can manage incompletes. And what this means is here, it's going to show you how many students haven't done the assignment. And so you would click on it, and it would show you the students. You can put zeros for them, or you can make it automatically by clicking submit zeros or automatic. Let's see what else. When you're done with the semester, you can export your grades by clicking on export data, and then you can take it individually, homework, quizzes, tests, and so on. And it'll do a Excel sheet for you. You can search for students who are not doing well by clicking on more tools. You can say search by email, and I want to find students who are tagged, or I want to find students by averages. So I want to know who is in this range, and then I can send them an email to say, you're falling behind, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so if this is your first time that you're going to use this, then I do recommend that you keep it simple. Show your students where to find the materials. And I do have some handouts that you can use for that. Once you start getting used to how to make this, how to work with it, then your course, you can start making it your own. For example, this course here, I made this course so that now it looks a little bit different. So if you notice, I put here, watch the video, take your notes, click here to print to get your document. I embedded the video, and then I said view the e-text. If you want to do something similar, let me show you how I do this. Let me go to the HTML. I would lend you this if you want to. You can copy it. And in here, you would have to read, so it takes time for you to understand this part right here, but you can change where the homework is. And the only reason I do that, so like right here, assign homework, I have a 1. If I want to change it to a 2 and so on, what it does is that it allows me to put the homework inside of this path right here. So the student can now click on the homework and they see their homework, whereas before they have to click on assignments. So here it's just giving them a path. Like, I want you to do this first, watch the video, and then view the book if you want to, and then begin your homework. But that is maybe next semester, if this is your first time, I would say just keep it simple. And you can still do the learning path in the Blackboard course. You can still have something for them over here. So like week 1, you can say, here's your notes for that week. Here's a PowerPoint, or you can just say, you can actually bring the PowerPoint. Let me show you from my math lab. Let me go to multimedia. So I'm going to get the PowerPoint. And I want this one. So this one is by chapter, so it won't work too much for your section, but you can still say something like this. So I'm trying to get it, but it's downloading. Oh, here it is. So I open it, save it to your computer. So I'm not gonna, well, okay, I'll save it. Save as. You can rename it chapter 1 or chapter 2. And then what you can do, if you don't have a PowerPoint, you can put it in here. Let me edit this. select a different file for me. Add it. So there's a video on how to navigate in Blackboard. Okay, so now the video is there. I mean the PowerPoint. The video, again, you can just get it from, if you want the video here, open the video, copy the link, and then you would just put the link in here. And that's not. And so for you, it would look like this. Let me go back. So you would have your link here. I'm trying to find one. I know I already have one from the publisher. Okay, let me just add it then. Okay, so if you want to add it, just say web link. Copy the link into the URL. Chapter 2. Submit. So now the video is right here. I want it to be up here. Right after the PowerPoint. And then you can have your homework. So I'll put the homework right here. And so now what the student would see is their notes, the chapter 2 PowerPoint, that's from the textbook. Okay. And then they would see the video. So they would click on the video. And you can add instructions in here. You can say, watch the video. So there's a lot of ways that you can manage the course. One, you can have them just stay all in MyMathLab. Since everything is here for them, you just need to make sure your student knows how to navigate this right here. Or you can create stuff in Blackboard as well, like links that take them out there. And so those are just different ways of doing it. So let me ask you if you have any questions so far. And I don't know what time this one's supposed to end. Does anybody know? Oh, 6 minutes ago. Okay. So so that was just a basic how to navigate your MyMathLab class. Now, if you didn't require your students to buy it at the beginning of the semester, what you need to do is, number one, you need to send me an email that says I will be using MyMathLab to continue the rest of the semester, and I need access for my students. If you're already using MyMathLab for homework, then you already made your students purchase it in the beginning, so your students are already set up. So make sure that you let me know so that I can set you up with the free access codes. Any questions? Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording. If you have